Ellen.
When you talked about going to the higher source for your education, it occurs to me that if we really fully engaged your identity, you would probably be the only higher source that we'd need to go to. You know, like you've been through it and you're...
Yes, but the danger of... Remember I talked about the dangers of trusting a person, right? And this is the thing, is that if a person is finite, they only have a limited capacity. You understand? God has the unlimited capacity. So what this means is that we're better off connecting to the person who has the unlimited capacity than to a person with a limited capacity. Now, while it is true that every single person in the celestial heavens is there because of what I taught them, or what somebody that whom I taught them, at the end of the day, they were only taught to connect to God, and then God taught them. You follow? So while they followed the way that I taught, that's why we called it the way rather than the truth, if you like, because the truth comes from God. The way is the way to find truth from God. Do you see the difference between those two things? One is a method and the other is the truth itself. And all I've taught people over 2,000 years is the method, the way in which to connect to God. Right? So that's all I'm teaching you. Don't accept that I know all the truth, because I do not. Right? I only know the method to gain the knowledge of all truth. Follow? Which is very different to each other.
I do, but I guess what I'm saying is, why would I read a book about what somebody's found out about whatever, you know, experiencing emotion and stuff, instead of listening to you?
Well, because a lot of you don't trust me.
That's what I come back to,
But you have other things that you can experiment with and find out about. You don't have to trust me in order to prove a lot of these things to yourself. You can actually work your way through finding information from other sources, and in the end, if you did that sincerely, I'm saying to you, you'd end up with the same result. Of course, it's simpler if you trusted me, but many of you don't. So there's not much I can do about that, aside from encourage you to develop your faith and these other qualities and use your will to do so, even if you don't trust me. Does that make sense?
And I think there's I felt a lot of spirit influence, you know, pummeling me about not trusting you and your identity, you know, or your identity more than you.
Yeah, most of you have yet to resolve the question of my identity. You're fascinated by what I teach you, but you're not yet sure about who I am. And of course, I haven't established through my personal actions any proof yet to your satisfaction about who I am, aside from the fact that I obviously know a lot of things that it seems that nobody else knows. And aside from that, as being proof, there is no other proof at this particular point. And so many of you are yet to trust. I agree. It would be simpler if you did, but many of you don't. And so what I'm suggesting to you is, like, these are still things that you need to develop if you want a relationship with God. And everything I'm presenting makes logical sense, does it not? So therefore, you can see a relationship between logic and the truth and spirituality and faith and emotion and action. You see these relationships, and this helps establish within you some more trust about, well, maybe I should do it rather than just talk about it or listen to it or hear it for years and years without taking action or whatever. Yeah. But it certainly would be simpler for the majority of people who are listening if they trusted me more. I agree. But at the end of the day, you know, that's a personal decision that each of you will need to make. And in the end, I feel quite strongly that if you engage the process, that's probably one way that you will come to trust me quite a lot, because you'll realise it works. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And you'll also feel God's truth a lot of times coming to you that wasn't coming to you before, and you'll start to be a lot more sensitive to everything going on around you, be more aware, and all of this growth that occurs as a result of trusting it will actually give you more faith that it's true. Yeah. Yep.
Thanks.
Of course, if you don't engage it and all you do is hear it, then none of that will occur. And of course, you'll be easily moved and manipulated by other external forces away from it, which many people in the past who have listened have done. So, yep.